Hi, Dev.
Hi, lover.
Today
is the day.
is the day we talk about our jobs and our career.
Love. I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, so people are curious. We've had some questions in to talk about careers and jobs and how you make money. So we thought we'd give the fans what they want.
I love giving the people what they want.
Obviously, people do know that we met working together at Playboy.
Yes.
But do you want to kind of tell them what you were doing, and then I can tell them what I was doing and how we intersected?
So I have an integrated marketing background, and I'd say like consumer products is like my bread and butter. So I do a lot of go-to-market strategies and like creative concepting, social influencer, like digital first, email, SMS, paid media.
Billboards. She does billboards.
Out of home, baby.
So Devon's a marketer.
Yeah. That's the answer.
Overview.
And I think when I went to Playboy, I was so excited because I just love working for brands that have like affinity and legacy. So where I'm at currently, where I'm going next.
Ooh.
And then Playboy and Mac, I think those were all really special brands to me because I think like Americana culture and like recognizable brands, we're in a time right now where in marketing, if you don't iterate and stay current, you die. And like I think at Playboy, what was super cool is like I wanted to like try to make it cool again, as we all did.
We all tried. Tried. Similar to you, I fell into marketing as I graduated. I just started working for a marketing firm that had employed me as a student to do like campus brand ambassador jobs for them. So it was like a really easy job out of uni. It was kind of like learning the basics of an office life and like doing simple tasks. So it was a kind of a really shitty job. I was living at home, not earning much money, but then that snowballed into me. I think it was at the time influencer marketing was getting its name. So influencer marketing has obviously been around for a long, long time, but probably like 10, 11 years ago, it was getting its name, right? So I was interested in what these influencers were doing on Instagram. Instagram had just been born, I think like 2 years before I graduated. And I was like, what are these people promoting these products? Like, and I was Googling and then I literally fell into the name, like the influencers or influencer marketing. So I started Googling that and I found an agency in London that was London's like first influencer marketing agency. And I just cold emailed them and was like, look, I work in marketing, but I'm really curious about this social media influencer thing. I'd love to interview. And sure enough, they gave me an interview. I got employed. And that was pretty much boot camp for like the rest of my career. Like it really set me up with client servicing, how to run campaigns, because once you know kind of the basics, you can do it in any facet of marketing. But then sure enough, a couple of years doing that, working with influencers, both talent managing, campaign managing, I got the Playboy gig, which again, I didn't know if I'd be able to do it because it was for a casting director and I was an influencer marketer. But I was like, it's got to be similar.
Yeah.
Like I'm picking people. And I learned that actually what I really was passionate about was working with productions and casting and picking photographers, picking stylists, picking hair and makeup crew. Love that. But as you know, during our Playboy years, the goalposts changed every week and we had to be very versatile and like very flexible with our roles and our jobs. And the casting direction didn't last long. Then I was doing influencer marketing again, which is when we launched a bunch of Playboy products. And then we were developing a social media platform to compete with OnlyFans. And we had to wear many hats in that job. But I think if I was to give now where I'm at with my career a title, my job role, it's being a talent director. Like I work with different clients and brands and people, matching them with the right people and culture.
Yeah. I think for me, if I had to give myself like a direction right now with where I'm going, it's like very heavy in the creator economy and like paired with like storytelling, disruptive marketing, and like really heavy like sales metrics and like KPI benchmarks for like expansion and growth. I think like influencer and creator, you know, you love to hate it, but I fucking love it. I think it is like such an interesting niche of marketing that will never go anywhere. I think it's like super competitive. I love like the storytelling and like behind like who's in, who's out, like who's hot right now, like who's going through like a PR nightmare. I love like seeing like what influencers like are working with what brands and like how those brands like are using them to like parlay like their own sales goals. Like I just think like all of that is so interesting. I think like throughout my career, like something that I don't talk about a lot but I think like is really important for people to realize is like a lot of what I do, like 80% of it is not glamorous and then 20% of it is. And there's so much behind the scenes that is like not fun, is super like math centric, is a lot of like organization and spreadsheets and presentations. And I think like when I was starting out my career, like if I was on set on a photo shoot, like I would get on my hands and knees and like roll a model's jeans and like steam the clothes. And I'll still do that now. My very first boss when I was at MAC Cosmetics is still a very dear friend of mine, but she really taught me, like even in her high level role, she would always stay behind in meetings and help us clean up. She was always like the first to get there. She'd help us with breakfast. She'd stay behind and help me bind notebooks. And like I think like I've been really lucky to have leaders who've like rolled up their sleeves and showed me that. And I'd say I really have taken that through my career, which has allowed me to be really successful. I think the other thing is what you said, being super flexible. I think any job I've ever taken on, the day to day has never been the same and it has always been chaotic. And I think like having grace during pressure and like just being calm and being malleable is how you're successful. I think if you ever tie yourself too closely to anything, you'll always be disappointed.
I love that. Similar to you, I think the most the most inspiring leaders I've worked with, and I'm talking like CEO level, were in the weeds with the operators, with the junior kind of hires, and in the weeds with them, really understanding how everything worked. And no job was too big or small for them. Like they would just do what needed to be done. And that definitely, I think, always stuck with me of, I will do anything, truly. And actually, like, I've always had this mentality of, if it brings me money and or joy, I'll do it.
Yes.
So at the beginning of my career, parallel to like my full-time job, sometimes on the weekends, I would still do like side jobs to make money to go traveling. And it was really funny because I was making money to go on these like luxury vacations, like 5-star hotels in Greece. But the jobs themselves were like awful. Like, to name a few, I was flyering for gyms outside in London, like outside of the gym, I'd be flyering. Yeah. And actually, the receptionist would be so mean to me and the others that were flyering. And I'm just thinking,
because you're
like,
hotter.
I'm also just like, you're just a receptionist, but you have this power trip over the people that are flying. It was crazy.
It's like in customer service when you go to return something and then the sales girl's rude to you. I'm like, sweetie, this isn't your store.
Yeah, like
you actually can't afford this either. You're buying it on a discount.
They get like a power trip.
Yes.
There was a funny one where it was like during Christmas time. There was a snow globe activation where, like,
oh my god, I love that.
Wait for it. So it was a massive snow globe, and kids could go in and take a picture of it as if they were in the snow globe.
I love that. I would want.
The only problem is my role was to put the kids in and out of them, so I'd have to be in the snow globe, and the snow globe would deflate and inflate all day. And I think I was getting. I felt like I was 100%. In a gas chamber. Like I felt like I was in. Like my
how did you do that?
I don't know. It was the worst job I think I've ever had. I was in like a chamber. Like I think the pressure in my head, like the fucking snow globe killed me.
Yeah.
The other bad job I've had, which I'm actually very proud of.
Yeah.
When I was 21 and I lived in Australia during my study abroad year to make money to travel, I joined this company and it was all men that was selling car wax outside of like supermarkets.
My God.
And I sold some car waxes. We'll put the picture up here.
Yeah,
I have a
I need
picture.
to see.
Because sometimes when I'd make like a bunch of sales, I'd like send it to my mum.
Yeah,
like, I made the most car wax sales
Wait,
today.
I love that.
And there was a second component to that job, which is sometimes we'd wait outside the supermarkets, but sometimes we'd go door to door.
I would buy car wax from you.
So that taught me a lot of skills about sales. And then the other one I had that wasn't too bad, it was actually quite fun, but you know, it was serving food at these brunches that they had in London. But it was like, what do you call those brunches that are kind of like clubby, like a a club brunch, like it was a party, so it's like a daytime rave at 9 a.m.
Yes.
And it would be like a chicken thing. So like it'd be like a chicken club brunch rave. And I'd give out the chicken.
So funny. Like a club sandwich or like chicken
just chicken
tenders?
Wings. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like wings. Okay.
So but I just knew I did it with all these shitty jobs with such pride because I was like, I'm making money to travel. Like I get to go on these 5-star vacations.
Yeah.
I won't be thinking about the chicken when I'm like in Positano and Milos.
No.
And so yeah, so I think one thing about me as it relates to my career, obviously now I don't have to do those jobs, thank God, but if I had to, I would.
Yeah.
Like if tomorrow someone was like, oh, you have a free day and you can make $500 like doing whatever, I'd do it.
Yeah.
Like I chase the money.
I have talked about this, but I'm just like so career driven and like I'm always like excited for what's next. I don't allow myself to ever get bored. And if I'm in a situation at a job and I feel like it's not working for me anymore, I always have a plan B, a C, and a D.
Same.
I am someone that like if I got laid off, I'd be like, all right, we'll go to plan B. And if that doesn't work, it's like, I'm so thoughtful that way. And I think that's like the hustler mentality. I also am just super money driven. So to me, I'm like, there's no option but to make it work.
I think America does exacerbate that though. I think the US, because of, you know, the culture, like we do become a bit of hustlers. And I think I've been very good at retaining my sense of work-life balance. And yes, like be driven, chase the money, do the things, but also like live life. And
I think something like going off of what you said at Playboy, this is where I had the light bulb there, is work-life balance. Because when I was working there, I did not have work-life balance. And I think there were some people that I was working with that also did not have work-life balance, and they let Playboy become their entire identity.
Oh, we can talk so much about
this.
And
I think when you allow your job to become your identity, you forget that unless it's your own company, you are literally a name on a spreadsheet. And if the company is not profitable and they need to cut, you can be the most liked employee, you can be a high-value employee. It doesn't matter. You're a name on a spreadsheet and they will cut you and they will not fucking care. So it's so important to prioritize yourself and your needs and have boundaries. So for me, when I manage a team, I don't micromanage them because I'm like, everybody has their own life. I would hope that this job is not your life, because if it is, I'm actually embarrassed for you and I'm sad. And something else must be going on in your life that you have to spend all of your time in this office and eat, sleep, breathe this brand.
Sleep, rave, repeat.
Literally.
That's what I thought of.
You know? So I just think that's something like I learned at Playboy, and then after I left Playboy, I've really taken that into my career where like even if I don't have plans that night, I deserve to be able to go home and just like chill out on my couch or do whatever I want to do. I think also sometimes like as a woman, if you don't have kids, you can get more work because your boss might be like, well, so-and-so has kids and she has to take them to soccer, so they're going to leave at 4 p.m. For me, I'm like, I have a facial. I should also be able to leave. Like, I don't think it's fair that like I get more work sometimes than other women. And so something for me, I have very strict boundaries. Like if I have plans, I leave. If I have a dinner, if I have a birthday. And like to me, that's just something new that I really learned in like I'd say like since we left Playboy. So in the last year and a half.
I agree. And making your job your identity is probably my biggest pet peeve ever. I mean, we know a lot of people.
It's
between you
really,
and me. We always send to each other
cringe.
when we think, yeah.
You know, sorry to interrupt you, but you actually are the one who taught me that, because when we had that mutual person who made that their life, I remember I called you and I was complaining about the person and how they were like so micromanaging. And you said to me on the phone, I will never let my job become my identity like them. So you really did teach me that.
Yeah, and look, I think it's a personal preference. Like, I think some people making their job their identity works for them, and they're very successful because of it. Especially, I think men probably find it a bit easier to do that over women, but good for them. And I wish I was a bit like that, but like there is not an inch of me that wants to ever make my career or my job my identity. I think life is so much richer and fuller, like outside of what you do for money, unless of course you get to a point where, like, if I was doing this every day making money, then yeah, like my job is like life. Like I love this. But until then, no. And actually, like, I think I've spoken to you about this, but my other pet peeve is when you go to someone's Instagram and I want to see their dog and I want to see their holiday or where they went on vacation and I want to see what they did on the weekend. And all I see is their portfolio of work, which, look, I get it. Like, people have to use Instagram as a tool for work nowadays. Like, your Instagram has to be a portfolio, but I hate it because I just want to know about them. I want to know like what they're watching and what they're doing, and like, and then it's just work, and I'm like, I don't care about your work. Like, I care about you as a person. And like, I also think the US is the worst place for that, because I think people see value in what people do and not who they are. And I think, you know, coming from Brazil and the UK, where like people just like each other for each other, and they don't ask what do you do, they ask where are you from, like, you know, what's your life story.
And I think people can use work as like a crutch, especially when you're getting to know someone, as like something to talk about. My family that lives in the UK, something that I love about them is when we go and visit them, they're not like saying like, well, how's work? And then deep diving work. They're always like, we're so like, they always feel so bad for me because when I go and stay with them, I'm like constantly working. And they're like, isn't this a vacation? And like, they're so interested on like, how are you doing? Like, how are your friends? Like, what have you been up to? And like, I always love that like, they don't let me like default to talking about work. Because it's just like, come on.
It's very different outside the US. Which leads me to kind of also prefer where I'm at right now, which is, thankfully, I'm at a place where I'm just consulting and I'm kind of, you know, working for different people, different client, different projects. And I can kind of make my own schedule and be flexible and not have to go into an office every day. Obviously, I still have to go to like certain places a few times, but it really means that I can like live my life and then make sure I'm putting work out like around my life, and making sure that obviously I still work really fucking hard. And if you know me, you know that I do, but it just means I get to do it on my own terms. So if it's like a Wednesday morning and I want to go to the post office, I can. And I love the point to where I've gotten in my career to be able to kind of have my own business and work for myself and take on as many clients or as little clients as I want. But obviously that took like 10, 11 years. And I think that the biggest also kind of consideration with career that I didn't have when I was younger is that what I'm doing now, some of the jobs I'm doing now, I didn't even know existed. And you will just fall into where you're meant to be, or you will fall into things that you enjoy doing. But you have to be a yes person in the beginning, like you said. Like, you have to be open-minded. You have to say yes. You have to hustle. You have to have a positive attitude. Like, we've met such cute people in our lives that are interns or like just people that I'm like, wow, like your attitude is so good and you're going to go far.
Great
because
energy.
you have really good energy and you're willing and you want to connect. And like, I think that's the sort of person that will become successful, you know?
I think also a lot of like Gen Z thinks that success is linear and that they don't understand that you have to really grind it out. Like, I think Gen Z expects to be making 6 figures out of college and to not want to lift a finger.
Well, they think that because they've seen influencers do it from night to
and
day.
like, something that I always tell like women that are younger than me that I'm friends with is like, to get to where I am, I had to work really fucking hard. I had to work on weekends. I had to do jobs that weren't sexy. And now I get to like be in this position where I feel very accomplished and I'm really excited for what's next.
And you get to do a podcast with me every week in the evenings. So
yes, baby.
Yeah.
I also, the other thing I was thinking is like, I do think it's hard right now with like some companies like you in the office 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like disagree with that. The company I'm at right now, we're there 5 days a week, and it's to me like really junior. I think that it feels really childish to me because it's like, I'm an adult. Why do you need to micromanage my time to like every minute? And I think it's just a testament to like how you either grow and like expand with like culture, or you stay steadfast in like archaic ways.
Well, and also the biggest benefit to a company not needing their employees sort of in the office is that they can get the best talent in the world anywhere.
Yeah.
They can get the absolute best talent in the world. I mean, there's something to be said about being in an office, collaborating with others, like having FaceTime.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not diminishing that. I think that's important.
I love that.
I love it too, but I think when it's a rule, hard and fast, you have to be here 9 to 5. You can't go home early. You can't do I mean, after COVID, come on.
Yeah.
I will say as well, one thing, advice that, I mean, I'm assuming younger people are listening to this, but if they're not, sorry. But if you are, realize what you're good at as early as you can. I think it took me a little bit of time to realize what I was good at and where I wanted to go. For example, in working in marketing, I thought that my career path was going to be, senior manager, director, senior director, VP, CMO, whatever. And I thought I wanted to be kind of a boss bitch and CEO, all that stuff. It took a few years to realize I couldn't want anything less than that. And for a couple of reasons. First of all, I realized that I'm not good at managing people. Like, I'm a much better individual contributor. And believe it or not, there are many, many jobs you can do without having to manage a team and manage people. It's not that I'm not good at it, I just don't love it. So by me not loving it, I think it's not something I do to my best ability. I'm sure I could kind of rise to the occasion if I had to, but I don't love it. So I realized, oh, well, I don't think I can be CEO or COO or CMO without managing people. So I don't think that's for me. Additionally, I just realized that, I liked flexibility and I liked sort of these kind of newer jobs where it's not so corporate, in which case there would be trade-offs, especially financially, but it meant that I would feel really happy day to day with my life. So realize, A, what you're good at and how you can intertwine that with something you love doing.
Yeah, and I think too, going back to like how things aren't linear, work and career, unless you are usually like a lawyer or a doctor, like it's like trying on like a bunch of different outfits and like finding which one is the most flattering.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've gone to a job and it's not been a fit and I've left in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone to a job and been there 6 years. And I think there's no shame in going and trying something and it not working. I think that for me has been my biggest learning in my career is, some advice I've gotten from like older mentors would be like, oh, you don't want to do that because you weren't there long enough. And to me, I'm like, hell no, this is my life. Like, if this isn't working, I'm out. Okay, so one thing I wanted to bring up was one of our very adorable, cutesy followers. She asked us this question, and I think it really resonates with the career portion. So I was just going to say it and we can like talk it out. But she said, in the self-development department, what habits have made the biggest impact on you? Sometimes it feels like there's so much out there, reading, journaling, movement. So I'm curious what's really stuck for you.
I'm guessing, does she mean self-development in terms of life or career? I guess we can answer both.
When I read this, I thought about it a lot in career and self-development, because I think for me, it's kind of like one in the same, because I'd say really who I am in my career is who I am in my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
obviously I'm a bit more filtered, but I'd say
Are you
that I know, but honestly, no.
We've never, and to be
Yeah.
honest, it didn't help that we worked.
I'm glad you called me out because I'm not filtered.
It doesn't help that we worked at Playboy where like we didn't have to be filtered. Like we could literally be talking about anal and anal beads
and butt plugs
and tits and butts and everything, like all day every day. It was great. Loved it.
Love.
Probably didn't help for the rest of our careers but I, you know, obviously there is times when you have to be super professional, but one thing I will say that I very quickly realized in my career is that there are no grown-ups, there are no adults. The people you think are the grown-up adults in your company are just figuring it out just like you are.
Everyone is faking it.
Everyone is faking it. They're all cosplaying, being big professionals, going to work, and they're all just making it up.
Yes. I think that is like such a good takeaway. And I think it parlays back to self-development because it's like, if you are a shy person and you hate public speaking, my advice would be you need to work on public speaking. And you know what that could be? It could be like when you order your coffee, you like ask the barista how their day is, you compliment their sweater. Right. Like I think so often our self-development we tie to like reading a self-help book or like feeling like, oh, we're not good at this and so we're going to shy away from it. But something that I really think helps is like I am not an adventurous person and I do like being pushed though to do that. Like anytime you've pushed me to do something, maybe in the moment I didn't enjoy it, but I do feel accomplished after. So like my advice to her with the self-development piece, whether it be for your personal life or if you wanted to parlay to your career, figure out what you're not good at and how you can get in front of it and give yourself confidence.
I think with me, I'm a big believer in fake it till you make it. So if there's something you want to, like, we are just faking being podcasters. I mean, we're learning how to do it, but like we didn't get here one day and was like, oh, we know how to do this. Like we are learning, but we're faking it till we make it.
Yeah, and we're out here trying.
We're trying. And put yourself in spaces with people you want to be like. I think the worst thing you can do is A, take advice from people you wouldn't want to be.
Yes.
And B, constantly surround yourself with people you wouldn't want to be like. So put yourself in spaces that you aspire to be in and you aspire to be like. So if you want to be, like, for example, earlier in my career, when I thought I wanted to be a CEO, I would get as close as possible to every CEO I've ever worked with. Whether that's befriending them just because, you know, I'm likable and they like to speak to me and they like to ask me for favors, or actually, you know, offering to do tasks for them, or just being like, can you mentor me doing this thing? So getting close to people you want to be exactly like. I have a list of my non-negotiables that I do every day, and I fail at it a lot. But in theory, for self-development, these are the things that I should do every single day. And again, I'm not perfect. Let me see if I can find it quickly.
While you're looking, a really dear friend of mine, she had told me just like with dating, because I was talking to her about, this was a while ago, but I was telling her something and she was like, you know, you shouldn't hang out with that girl or you shouldn't take advice from that girl because you don't want her life.
No.
And so like, why are you spending time and absorbing the energy of somebody's life that you do not want in the dating world? So I just want to like agree with what you just said, because I do think that is like extremely important.
Yeah.
You become like the people you hang out with.
I actually have a tattoo on my foot in Arabic that says what you think you become.
Yeah.
So you need to put the right thoughts into your head. It's kind of like social media where it picks up your algorithm and then it sends you things it thinks it might like. Once you start putting thoughts in your head, your actual brain then sends you thoughts that thinks you might like or subscribe to, but it's not really what you think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is what I should do every day for self-development. Read, even if it's just a couple of pages. I am a big reader and I love reading and it really calms me. Coffee every day. I love it. Non-negotiable. I love coffee. It's not going to go away. Listen to at least an hour of podcasts every day, which for me comes really easily because I absolutely love podcasts. And I think the biggest thing to my self-development has been listening to podcasts. And funnily enough, I don't listen to any podcasts like ours. Literally, the things I'm listening to are insane, like kind of a lot more different to this.
Yeah.
Which is why I feel like I'm doing that for self-development because this is like us just being us and giving value, whereas I'm receiving value from the things that I don't know how to do. Speak with my parents every day.
Love.
They just know best, and they can always make me feel better about anything. Express gratitude, so pray, say thank you, you know, anything that I'm just being thankful for. I think that's really good for your mental health. Clean or tidy, as I said at the other episode, I'm not much of a cleaner, so more tidying. So whether that's a physical or a digital space, something fun every day. And then the last one is the one that I really fell at, which is to drink water. I actually can go like a day or two without drinking water.
Your pee must be like orange.
It's not.
It's clear?
It's not clear.
There's
like a little tinge.
I really like the idea of doing that in your phone. I want to do that because at first when you were going to read them, in my head I was like, I hate writing down like goals like that feel like, because if I don't do them every day, then I get really mad at myself and I get disappointed. But I like those because they feel good. They're easier to execute. They don't feel like too much where like you'll be mad at yourself. And I can see how like consistency also like creates happiness.
Yeah. And I did have movement in there, whether that's, you know, walking or just anything, gym, or, you know, fell at that too.
Yeah.
And then I actually did one for my wife without her knowing.
Oh.
Because I'm not going to read it, but I just thought if I can know the things that she can't live without or the things that make her feel good, I feel like I'll be a good partner because I can like make sure she's doing those things. I mean, she does it anyway, but I just think I wanted to like see how ours matched. And the only thing I think she has that I don't have is like eat really healthy food every day.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I feel like I want to encourage everyone to make a list like that.
List. Yeah. Because then you realize the things that you don't want to live without or the things that are non-negotiable to you. And as I said, I fail miserably, but at least you know, if I didn't have coffee, I can be like, oh, it's because I didn't have a coffee today, or oh, I didn't move my body today, or oh, like I didn't speak to my parents or express gratitude or read my book or listen to a podcast. Like, I just know that I want to do that every single day.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for sharing the list with me, because thinking about personal growth and like self-development, I want to kind of know your thoughts on how that relates to how you see success and like showing up as being successful.
Okay, I'm going to answer that in two parts because I think about my life as success in career and then success in my life. And obviously they are intertwined, and, you know, the career success exists in life success, but I think in life is having a growth mindset. So for example, you know, doing this podcast, we knew nothing about podcasting.
Yeah.
And I don't think I had learned a new skill that was outside of like my day-to-day jobs in a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think it showed me that I want to, even beyond this little fun project that we're doing, like always have a growth mindset of learning new skills, and it's never too late to like learn something new. Also having a growth mindset in just views and opinions. And I've always been quite a stubborn person and very set in my ways. And I think a lot of people and a lot of situations have shown me in recent years that I just need to be a bit more open-minded. And I've been really enjoying that.
Yeah.
And waking up every day with gratitude. I can safely say I wake up every day. Like, I'm not the most religious person, and I literally pray and thank God. Like, I have my life and all the blessings in it. Like, I just couldn't feel happier, honestly. Obviously, like, there is the trials and tribulations that life brings, but overall, I do live in the state of, like, joy and happiness. So I think that's, like, I've reached success, honestly, because there is nothing that I would change about my life right now.
Yeah.
Like, if I was to have this life forever, I'd be quite content. Obviously, I don't want it. I want a life of consequence, and I want a life of challenge, and I want a life of like things changing and moving and happening. So it's not going to stay like this, but if it had to, I'd be very happy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of life success. Obviously, just the ambitious side of me wants to, or since I have started my career in like 10 years ago, I have gone up in like my salaries every single year and how much money I'm making.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you said like success isn't linear, and there's been times within these years where like 6 months ago I had a full-time job we all got made redundant. We all got let go because the job that I was working at just shut down, just closed. I have a screenshot of me telling you when I lost my job.
We need to.
We'll put it up here.
Because I was like, no fucking
I have
way.
screenshots of me telling Devin, because we won't go into it, but it was like a dream job for me, and I was really, really enjoying it. And thankfully, it wasn't my fault. We all lost our jobs. Like 20 people got let go, and the company shut down. So it's never linear in the sense that anything could happen at any given moment. And, you know, we in this country, we don't get I didn't get any severance. And you kind of have to go, like you said, like, okay, activate plan B, activate plan C, activate plan D. I will say that has been made easier by having like a really good support structure that, you know, if I was to go broke tomorrow, I can run home to mum and dad, and I can run home to like my second family, who are like my second parents. And like, I have so much support around me. And also that's what makes me feel grateful, because like I don't deny that that's a huge privilege, and not everyone has that. But ultimately, I think also success for me in work is obviously like going up in money making and being a yes person, like just saying yes to everything. And right now I'm actually going through a journey of learning how to, like, what I say no to now is more important than what I say yes to, and kind of unlearning that a little bit. But I think just being open-minded in career as well. What about you? Are you a yes person?
I'm a yes person. We all know I have no boundaries, and I'm trying to actively work on that. I think the growth mindset with being a yes person for my career, how it has really paid off, is if I was given if I applied for a role and I got it, and maybe I didn't know a skill set, like an example is paid media, I just taught myself. Like 100%. I asked everybody, and I found people that worked in those careers to teach me. I would watch YouTube videos. You can literally learn anything on YouTube. Like, I would just Google everything. And so I think sometimes being scared and saying yes and just being like, I'll do it and I'll just teach myself.
Or figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. And I think that goes to like the growth mindset in how I've really like achieved success.
Yeah, and there's that thing about how like 80% of men would apply for jobs that they don't have like the majority of qualities for, and then they compare that with women, and they find that there is a much smaller percentage of women that would apply for a job where they don't have all the qualifications needed. I think we're both very alike, that I've literally gone into jobs, applied for jobs, gotten jobs. When I started working at a magazine, kid you not, day one, I was like, how does this place make money?
Yeah.
Like, how does this work? Like, like what, like, how do we, like, how does this operate? Like, teach me.
Yeah, you're just being confident.
Yeah, but I was like, I know you guys value my skill sets, that's why I'm here, but you guys need to tell me how this fucking works, because I have no idea. Also, if you are employed in a place because of your skill set, ask questions. Like, you're obviously there for a reason. They like you. They wanted to hire you. So ask questions. Like, don't think anything's too stupid.
Yeah.
Because to that point, now that we realize that everyone's just faking it, no one's a grown-up, no one's an adult, everyone's just putting on a costume and going to work every day.
Yeah.
It's super fine to ask questions and be honest.
Also, it's like sometimes I feel like I'm a culture hire where people are like, let's bring her in, bring the vibes.
Devin and I are the ultimate culture hires. But you know what?
Your day.
Every fucking company needs a culture hire.
Yeah, and they're obsessed with us. So I'm just like, I know you're obsessed. I'm going to bring the vibes.
Yeah.
So are you. Combined together, we're the ultimate culture
I would say
hire.
I'm like the ultimate DEI hire, because I'm like funny, I'm gay, I'm a woman, I'm Latina. But now I think only one of those matters, which is just like being funny.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think like even in interviews, I am totally myself.
100%.
Because I don't prep for interviews anymore, because I'm like, I want to speak to my skill set, to answer questions thoughtfully, and I want to be hired and go into a role not because I like looked up random things and I have notes. So I go like raw dog interviews, go in as myself, and I am just like cracking jokes, being me. And I just have the mindset where like, if you like me, you like me. And if you don't, you don't. And you not liking me actually filters me out, because it's not going to be like the right role.
To that point, I've worked with the most fantastic professionals on paper. Like, they do everything perfectly, Devin.
Yeah.
Like their emails are perfect, their folders are perfect. Like they are unreal professionals. And I'm thinking of these people in my head. But they're really hard to work with. They're not nice. They make everything difficult. They make everything an HR issue. And guess what? Passive aggressive. Like they make everything drama.
Yes.
And guess what? They don't succeed because no one wants to work with them.
No.
They get fired. It's a whole drama. And then I think, wow, but they were actually like quite good at their job.
One bad egg.
But no one wanted to work with them because they weren't likable. So I think there is such a huge importance in being liked and being charismatic and being like you spend so much time with the people you work with if you're in an office. Like you need to be around people who you like and vice versa.
Yeah. I also, my first boss at Mac, I remember I was really stressed about something one day and she was like, girl, like we're just selling lipstick.
Not curing cancer.
It's like, I am in an industry and so are you that like we're not saving lives. So I do feel like it's important to just bring a positive attitude and just like have a laugh. And like I like working with like-minded people like that who are really fucking smart, who know what they're doing, who move quick, but are enjoyable and pleasant and like create like a nice environment. Cause I'm like, this is just like our lives are so short. Like we could die tomorrow. Like I don't want to be in an environment that's like uncomfortable and everyone's like on eggshells.
Agreed. I will say kind of one of my final points about career is not being also scared to completely change your career.
Yeah.
I've had stories from friends who decided to do something completely new after like 10 years of being in one sector. And then I've had friends who I'm actually suggesting that to because I can so vividly see that they would be much better doing something else.
Yeah.
And they're just too scared to like apply for something completely different because they're like, well, I can't be a publisher now. Like I've never done publishing, or I can't, and it's like, yes, you can.
Yeah.
You've had 10 years professional experience. It doesn't matter what you've done. You have a set of skill set that people want and you're likable and you're charming and you can talk to people. Like just do it. So don't be scared of completely changing your whole career path either.
Yeah. There's that quote that says like leap and the net will appear. I think I have a friend right now who's younger than me and I was helping her with her resume. She was like, well, I don't know if like this skill set would match with this job. And I was like, no, it doesn't need to be A to A. Like your skill set that you have right now is transferable. It's just like looking at it with like a 360. Sometimes when you're so close to something, it's like hard to see.
Agree. Well, I hope this has been useful to whoever needs it.
Yeah.
And fun to those that don't.
And if you want to be our intern, we're hiring.
We are hiring. We do. We need help. We are too busy and we don't know how to post things.
And we need an intern.
And bonus if you're hot.
Yeah, please.
I do have a question for you.
Tell me.
You asked me what success means to me. What does success mean to you? I'm just recycling.
It's hard. I think my answer is my goal of what I want success to be. And I think my mom has really been helping me with this, but being really grateful and appreciative of where I'm at and being thankful for how far I've come. And that is success. It's obviously something I'm working on. But to me, I think when I practice like going to bed every night and like thinking in my head like what I have like that's ahead of me for the day, I always like to look back and like remind myself like how much I've accomplished and like how lucky I am.
I love that.
So that would be success.
That's very cute.
Your question. So I know that you say you're not a hustler, but since you're constantly on the move, do you ever feel like you have a fear of commitment and so you use saying that you're not a hustler as kind of like a shield?
I don't think it's a fear of commitment. I think it's a fear of stability. Like I actually am not someone who has ever craved stability and certainty, and I think the only reason I've been able to have that is because of like support systems. Like I've always been able to just be unstable and do different things and go to different places. So I've gotten so accustomed to that I actually fear stability a little bit because I always want to be growing and changing and doing different things. And it actually doesn't help my life that much, because when I have to think about things like where do I want to live and what job do I want to do now, it's actually very confusing.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a fear of commitment. I can commit. I think
Yeah.
it's just more stability.
Okay. Well, that's a wrap. Gorgie. Goodbye.
Bye bye.